Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week we take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to find a path to finding the winner. Well, it's Sha Ladies Purse Day in Hong Kong on Sunday. That's our Ladies' Day meeting for the year, and a really excellent roll-up for the feature, the Ladies Purse. That's not one of the races that I'll be covering on this show, however. I'm going to the support card, and our first race is race 4, where our winning factor is the map. So this is a Class 4, 1600 metres, and I'm sure there'll be fans for quite a few horses here, including a Glorious Star, who caught the eye at his race debut. Zach Purton's ride, Super, did a good job last time from a wide gate. Volcanic Spark is a bit fitter for a recent run. Fighting Machine had a vet issue last start and is well handicapped, while the Auspicious and Happy Universe are racing well and not out of it either. Yet, for all of that, I think there's a standout here in Beauty Missile. Now, first of all, let's take a moment to appreciate the good job being done by Beauty Missile's trainer, Brett Crawford, the new trainer for this season from South Africa, and he's only had 27 horses to the races so far, 4 wins and 6 placings, and he's really done an excellent job with what he's had to work with. Like all first season trainers, you tend to get horses, certainly at the start of your Hong Kong career, who have lost form or have a few issues. And to do the job that he's doing with those horses has been quite excellent. And I guess that Beauty Missile fits that profile too. He's had 33 starts in Hong Kong, yet to win a race, although he has run 11 top 4 finishes in those 33 starts, so he's been fairly consistent. But I want to show you 2 aspects of Beauty Missile. First one from recently, and then one from a little while ago. So first of all, let's have a look at his last start. This is race 90 of the current season, gate 11, Alexi Bedell wearing those well-known beauty colours, black, white and pink. And the horse has white cheek pieces on, and he's one of the first to begin, but soon finds runners inside pushing through. And if you watch Bedell, he's looking around constantly for somewhere to reverse park his horse, but he keeps drifting back further and further and is past midfield by the time he gets to the 800 metres. Still wide, but with some cover. Now, the leaders here go a good pace throughout. They don't slow down. The horse in yellow, up running second, is Happy Universe, the eventual runner-up and a runner on Sunday. And he's being tracked by the eventual winner in blue. They cut the corner, while Beauty Missile, you see, has to go very wide on the home turn and then sustain a longish run, getting into 4th placing. So an excellent run in defeat there at his second run for Brett Crawford. And Beauty Missile, well, he's going to appreciate the switch from a wide draw, and he's had those at his last 5 starts, to barrier 2 this time. And so I wanted to show you what we might expect from him when he actually gets a good draw. And for that, we have to go back to March, and this race is over 1200 metres. This is race 546 last season, gate 2 this time with Antoine Hamlin in the saddle, and Beauty Missile begins well here too, but a low draw this time allows him to keep a handy box seat position, even though you can see on the heat map the pace is quite good and over a sprint distance. Now his jockey Hamlin gets a nice run, trailing the pace behind the leader Little Paradise, who has had to work hard to get over to that position. And in the straight, the leader is pretty much running on empty over the last 200 metres. Beauty Missile has had the ideal trip to tackle him late at his most vulnerable, but doesn't quite get there. Now that's every chance, if ever I've seen it, from a horse, and he couldn't quite close the deal, but an excellent run nevertheless. And the winner, well, he was very promising at that time and still is racing in a higher grade on Sunday's card. But when we look at Sunday's map, well, we see a very different kind of a run for Beauty Missile than the race we saw a few weeks ago. And that tactical speed from Beauty Missile over 1200 is going to come in very handy on Sunday when he has a low draw over 1600 metres. Now this time Bedell will have the option to lead or take the box seat. if somebody else, like Happy Universe, is a more conscientious leader. But being well positioned looks critical in this race, and Beauty Missile should be. Horses like Inno Super or Fighting Machine are likely to get back. Gloria Star, well, he's unexplored after only the one run, but even though he has a better draw this time, he's never really shown that much tactical speed in his trials. In a soft tempo, those with the best of the map are those nearer the pace. It's also worth noting that since we saw him run second last season in that race from the good draw, Beauty Missile has dropped 12 pounds in the handicap, so he also comes into this well weighted. So the tip from me in race 4 is Beauty Missile. His winning factor is the map. Now, I've touched on a few things with him. One is that he is certainly overdue for a win after 33 starts, but he has the tactical pace to take advantage of a good map this time. He's well handicapped and his trainer is going particularly well. I think this is his moment and Beauty Missile can break through. The other race I want to look at is race 9, and our winning factor here, the trainer. So this is a pretty good class 3 over 1400 metres, a fairly open sort of a race, and there will be plenty of runners with fans in this. Juno Pride is fitter for his first up run this season. Little Paradise has won 3 of his 5 starts at 1200 metres, now steps up in distance. The Boombox also has a good record and is a run fitter from a lengthy break. Lucky Sam Gore comes in making the jump in grade after 2 stylish class 4 wins, and I think that Tin Fook has run well at all 3 starts and will get his chance to break through as well. Now, there are good arguments for all of those horses, so I'm certainly not discounting any of them, but I'm going to put the focus here on 2 lead-up races in particular. First of all, the Boombox. Now, he won his first 3 starts last season, looked quite promising. Things flattened out for him a little bit after that, and then he had a 5-month break from racing, so perhaps all was not 100%, but he returned last month over at 1200 metres, and this was his performance. Race 74, he's in gate 7, pink and white colours, and the Boombox jumps well, but Vincent Ho is in no hurry on a horse who likes to find his feet early, and the pacier horses have soon left him behind, and he drifts right back to the rear, a couple of lengths behind the eventual winner, Bulb General, in the orange colours. Now, the pace here is good, but on the heat map you can see that the leaders are still able to increase the speed from the 800 metres, and that certainly doesn't help the horses coming from the back. The winner was exceptional, but the Boombox tries to go with him in the straight and can't. He takes longer to wind up, but does work home well over the final stages. So that was 1200 metres. He does look ready for 1400 metres now and should be fitter. So Sunday's race looks a good one for him. The other race I want to highlight here featured Juno Pride and Tin Fook. And I want to highlight both of their runs in this race. Race 94, gate 10, green and red colours Juno Pride is quickly away at the start. Tin Fook, light green, white sleeves with red stars, and he also jumps okay, but while Juno Pride is looking to press forward in the fast first half here, Tin Fook settles midfield. But I do want to highlight a problem that he encounters in running. Now, the horse in front of him in running, in purple colours, is struggling quite early in the race and drops back on Tin Fook. Tin Fook has nowhere to go and gets pushed right back to nearly last when they straighten for home. Meanwhile, the leaders have done it tough, and Juno Pride is one of them. He makes a brief challenge at the leaders, but runs out of energy. And Tin Fook, when he's finally able to pick himself up and get into clear running, runs on strongly into a placing, and there's a good argument that he should have won. So the only leader to really go on with it there was the winner, so he did a particularly good job. Although I think in the circumstances Tin Fook was unlucky not to win that race, he did have the race shape working for him, while Juno Pride had the opposite, being up with that fast pace and then struggling a bit over the final stages. That leads us into looking at how Sunday's race sets up, and certainly at first glance at the fields, you'd think that a number of the leading chances we've identified do have a problem with wide gates, but remains to be seen whether that's how it works out. Outside draws for Juno Pride, Little Paradise and Lucky Sam Gore, and I guess that might turn punters towards those drawn inside like the Boombox and Tin Fook. But for me, the map is a little bit ambiguous. The difficulty is that the outside horses like Juno Pride, Anode, Lucy in the Sky and one or two others have the early speed, and they might get across here and then slow the speed mid-race. I've marked the tempo as average, but it may not even get to that. And if they do get a chance to slow up and take a breather mid-race, that might be a disadvantage then to the well-drawn run-on horses like Tin Fook and the Boombox. So regulars might recall that before the opening day of this season, I highlighted a handful of trainers and said they were the guys to follow for the first 145 races of the season, taking us up to the start of November. And the prediction there was that they would win about 40% of the races. They have done. And I also suggested adding Mark Newnham to that group, as that was the way his preparations for his horses were trending. And if you add him in, it's more than half the winners for the season so far have gone to that group of trainers. And the reason I highlight that prediction is that Hong Kong is a fairly closed sort of environment. We have a limited number of horses, a limited number of trainers, and that makes some things a bit more predictable. And now we're at the start of November. That brings us to the next of our predictables, John Size. The 13 times champion trainer has only 2 winners for the season, and yet in many books he would still be favourite to win the title. And the reason is, well, what I'm going to show you here with this graphic. John Size's career has a real pattern to it, and that is illustrated by this graph. Now, sometimes he does have a few winners in September and October, but usually not very many. And if you're looking at last year, when he won his 13th championship, Size had only 3 wins coming into November, and he has started similarly in a number of his title-winning seasons. But come November, that's usually the month that he switches on and starts to train a steady flow of winners through the middle 6 months of the season that will take him into title contention. So I'm looking at that change starting any time now that we're into November. But the tip from me in race 9 is Juno Pride, his winning factor, the trainer. Now, this is a horse I've always had a good opinion of as a potential player for the 4-year-old series this season. He's better for that tough run that he had first up, chasing a fast pace. He will be fitter, and although he's got a difficult map, I think that he has the early pace to do something about that. He's fitter, he's ready to get back into the winner's circle, and so is his trainer, John Size. Well, that's it for the winning factor this week. Good luck on Sunday. We'll see you next time.